I welcome you to the first of many episodes on the Mother Man podcast. And while I was thinking of how to kick off the very first episode, I felt it is best for me to have this conversation all by myself, sharing parts of my story or stories from friends or some experiences that I've had. And this is what we'll be doing today. I once read a quote that says that much of who we are as men is tied into fragile conceptions of self worth and ego. And this is so profound, It speaks deeply into how much of our existence as men, our identity as men, is tied into external validation and societal expectation rather than self awareness and internal validation. Like that was that was so profound. You know, as a young boy in my teens, in my 20s, one of the major things that I felt made me a man, aside from the money I made, was the women I could keep, was how much women I had at my beck on, how much girls I could talk to. And this was something that made me feel so much like a man. In short, they say, show me your friend and I'll tell you who you are. Practically all my friends were all the same as me because we felt like this is what made us a man. Or are we going to talk about the sex we could have or the alcohol we could drink? In short, this is something we kind of brag about sometimes because it makes us feel like a man. I crave for this moment. It felt like an accomplishment for me because of how much validity, how much I have placed my identity, I have placed my existence into these things. I felt like it is something so important, something that makes me want it, something that validates my existence as a man. And I see this happening to so many young men out there. The alcohol they could drink, they brag about it. In short, I think it is way higher than during my time now because now young boys are growing into drugs because they feel like this is what will make the girl see me as a man, or this is what will make the society refer to me as a man. And this is killing our society. When a boy is tagged as bad boy amongst his friends, it seems like the real deal to him. Like, I have arrived. This is it. It's crazy how they, man. It's crazy. Another thing we can get to talk about right now when it comes to societal expectation is when the society expects the man to man up. At a very young age, for every boy, they tell us to man up. The Yoruba people will say, Shebi Okunrin. We are not expected to cry. And this has made us to suppress our emotions at all times. It has made us not to be vulnerable. And in short, most men don't even know how to love because in moments when they were supposed to actually show the emotional side of them for them to be vulnerable, we have actually told us, society has told us to do what? To man up. And this is the irony. The same society that told us to man up, the same society that told us not to cry, now expects us to actually show emotions. They expect us to also, as a man, you have to be sensitive, and that is the irony of it. Miles Moreau once said, the true value of a bike is never questioned. Whether it can move from point A to point B, it is not questioned. A bike is still a bike. And the only thing that comes to our head is that it's a mechanical fault and it needs to be fixed. But when it comes to being a man, our true value is questioned when we can't attain certain standard that has been set by the society. When a man can't make money, his true value is questioned. When a man cries, his true value is being questioned. That is why they told us not to cry. When a man gets vulnerable, when a man can't do things that is expected to be what we call a masculine trait, his true value is questioned. But the truth is, you are still a man. I am a man, regardless. And we don't have to continue to prove this to anybody. If a friend once told me the story about how he lost his dad, his dad was a typical African man. He's the main provider for the family. He's the one that figures everything out. He does everything for the family. And the society, everybody respects him for his status, his money, and all. And then I think there was a merger happening in the company, and then his dad got laid off. And this is the beginning of the crisis. He could no longer provide for his family. He could no longer do the things he used to do for his family because his whole identity was tied to being able to provide, because that is what the society expects of him. And now, along the line, depression starts creeping in. All his identity, his whole purpose is tied to provision. And there is more than one way to be a man, not only provision. He tied it to just that. Depression starts creeping in. Along the line, he had stroke. Of course, there are still a lot of bit by bit added to this story, but then this is just a summary of it. So, for the purpose of this video, and that was what happened. That was how he lost his dad. But how did that start? It started from the moment he lost his job. He felt worthless. He felt purposeless. He felt like everything is gone for him because everything about him has been tied to the fact that for a man to be seen as a man, he has to be able to provide for the family. We can go on and on and on talking about cases like this, about men that have lost their life, that have lost their sense of responsibility, their sense of purpose, because we have tied the essence of men to what they can do. We have tied the essence of men to this external validation at all times. Now, this is the question. Do we continue on this existing fragile conceptions, or do we look to find the balance and see how much we can break the stereotypes of society expectations that have placed men in a box? Now, one thing I know is this. We can't continue to live our lives on external validation or society expectations. We can't. It was never right in the first place, and it hasn't even really worked. Statistics shows that by adolescence, boys report lower level of emotional expression than girls, even though their emotional needs are very similar. So that means as that adolescence, a young boy is no longer expresses. Imagine how he's actually going to be by the time he grows up. He's completely shut down, total shut out. Another one says that 58% of men feel society expects them to be emotionally strong and not show weaknesses. And this shows the reason why a lot of men can't even love as they are supposed to be, which I said earlier. So it's not even like this expectation or standard that we have or it's out there is even working per se. No wonder the rate of suicide, the rate of depression amongst men is on the rise day by day. This is not something I can figure out all by myself. And that is why from our next episodes, I'll be bringing great minds right here on this podcast for us to discuss, for us to actually see how we can help so many men out there, because a lot of men are broken. A lot of men need healing. A lot of us need to be healthy.